I think we're trying to get a few chairs in here.
Yep, let's get the pictures up. Doing this so we can. 2 years up.
Good morning and welcome to the Paulding County Board of Commissioners October 22nd, 2013 work session. We'd like to recognize all our invited guests and elected officials. If you're here with us today, an elected official, I see Sheriff Jerry Gulledge. I see our clerk, Treva Shelton. I see Deborah Anderson, probate judge. I see Mayor Debbie. Look, see if I'm missing you. Former Commissioner Wayne Kirby, so thank you all for being here. This morning, for the invocation and the pledge, Pastor Mike Shaley with the Gathering House. Would you stand with me if you're able?
Let us pray. O Lord, our Lord, how majestic is your name in all the earth. Your glory is higher than the heavens. You have taught children and infants to tell of your strength, silencing your enemies and all who oppose you. When we look at the night sky and see the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars you set in place, what are people that you should think about them? Mere mortals that you should care for them. Yet you have made them only a little lower than God and crowned them with glory and honor. You have given them charge of everything you made, putting all things under their authority, the flocks and the herds and all the wild animals, the birds in the sky, the fish in the sea, and everything that swims the ocean currents. O Lord, our Lord, how majestic is your name in all the earth. Lord, today, as we meet, as these commissioners make decisions, they're doing so under your word of the authority that you have given unto man, the assignment you gave us, Lord, of this earth to rule and to reign, to be fruitful, to multiply, to fill, to subdue, to take dominion, to tend and to keep. So for them, Lord, and for all of us in the territories that you've given us, especially here in Paulding County, give us the wisdom, the discernment, and the desire to look to you in every decision that we make. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I thank you for that prayer and your continued support. Appreciate it. The Board of Commissioners would like to present the Public Safety Appreciation Award to Samantha Morris. Samantha, if you come forward, Administrative Assistant with Paulding County E911. I believe we have Dave Munford. Dave, I think you'd like to say a few words. Now, if you'll come right here and face the firing squad.
She considered it a firing squad because she just found out that she was coming. Thank you for letting me come up and give you some information about Samantha and why we chose her for this award. She was hired with the 911 Center on March 31st of 2009, and she came in and immediately, well, shortly thereafter, she was promoted to the position of a lead communications officer, which put her over training new employees, and she's served in that capacity very well. She's been a mentor and a trainer for other employees, sets an example for others. As a lead, she was responsible for training, assuming the responsibilities of a supervisor when they were out of the office, and taking on various tasks and assignments that she volunteered for and was assigned to her. She's also a member of our tactical dispatch team, which is a volunteer within our organization, volunteer group that go out and they assist EMA with special events, and they're specially trained to handle tactical communications outside the 911 Center. She's volunteered to work on special projects. She continuously makes recommendations as to the betterment of the 911 Center and to help us out in our daily duties. Recently, we had our administrative assistant retired, and so we put a job announcement out, and we had several very qualified candidates apply. And after we conducted numerous interviews, Samantha came to the top of the interview list, and so as reluctant as we were to move someone from an operations position to an administrative position, we certainly decided she was best for the job. So she assumed those responsibilities in June of 2013, and she hit the ground running when she came in as administrative assistant. Not only is she tasked with keeping myself and Christina on task and on schedule, she's also came in and she's reorganized the way the office has been ran. She's helped out with filing. She's moved a lot of stuff from the way we did it on paper to electronic, so that we are doing a lot of stuff on Excel and other computer-based programs now instead of having hard copies. So she helps contribute on a daily basis to that. Not only does she, after assuming her new position, Samantha's continued to keep up her certification as a communications officer, and also still serves on the tactical dispatch team. And all 911 centers suffer through periods of shortage in staffing, and when we need extra help, Samantha is on the floor, and she still helps train, she still helps dispatch, and she still serves on the tactical dispatch team, which she actually, at the air show a couple of weeks ago, she served on the bus with the tactical dispatch team in addition to her administrative duties. She represents the 911 Center professionally in her dealing with the public and other agencies, and we're very proud to keep her, have her on board as our administrative assistant and as a long-term employee. If you would.
I am standing up.
Thank you so much. Would you care to say anything?
Sure.
Let's step right up to the
This took me by surprise. You know, I take pride in everything I do, so I really appreciate it.
David, I've noticed that you're surrounding yourself with great women that work for you. Make you feel better.
The key word there is they don't work for me, it's the opposite.
Dr. Davidson, if you come forward. Stand right here. Line up. Read a proclamation. Proclamation, whereas Fortified Hills Baptist Church, Dallas, Georgia, celebrated the 100th anniversary on October 13, 2013, and whereas we recognize and honor Fortified Hills Baptist Church and its founding members who began a parish church 100 years ago, and whereas Dr. Dewey Davidson and the congregation of the church have provided many opportunities for spiritual enrichment and recreational activities for our citizens, and whereas the church has supported many agencies and organizations who serve those in need. And whereas in gratitude for Fortified Hills Baptist Church, a church for all generations, we gather together today to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Fortified Hills Baptist Church, and request all citizens to join us together to commend the members of the Fortified Baptist Church for their efforts then and since, and wish them every success for the next 100 years. Now therefore, I, David A. Austin, Chairman of the Paulding County Board of Commissioners, do hereby honor Fortified Hills Baptist Church as they celebrate their 100th anniversary. Thank you, Dr. Hey,
David loves getting this picture made. She has a good Photoshop program for him.
They got it. Doctor, you like to say something?
Well, thank you, Commissioners, for honoring us. It's a great honor just to know that our people have been responsible for 100 years of serving the Lord Jesus Christ, and for a time where every year like 3,500 churches are shutting their doors, our church continues to thrive, and we're expecting another great 100 years, and God has been good to us. It just goes back to good members who love the Lord, and we hope to serve this county and the people of this county. We're trying to start a free medical clinic at this time, and get away food and clothes every week, and minister to all the hurting and needy of this county. So thank you for honoring us, and we're here for y'all.
We need you more than ever.
Thank you.
God bless you.
He was very successful in bringing Congressman Phil Gingrey and the governor of our great state, Governor Deal, to his church Sunday week ago. So great job.
Great service.
At this time, I'd like to, even though he's not here, honor Reynolds Jennings and Wellstar. We have a wonderful hospital that will be open in April of 2014, and the Board of Commissioners would like to congratulate Reynolds Jennings, President and CEO of Wellstar System, on being honored as the 2013 CEO of the Year by the Georgia Alliance of Community Hospitals. Every year, its annual conference, the GACH recognizes the leadership and innovation of the CEOs who have helped push their institution to be successful while continually focusing on world-class care and community benefit. In short, they honor the hospital leader who uses their skill and constructive imagination to see how much they can give for a dollar instead of how to live. This year, the Alliance honored Jennings for his leadership in helping Wellstar advance lines of clinical service, including the establishment of a 24/7 neurosurgery team, accompanied by approval of as a Level 2 trauma center, an award-winning 39-week elective delivery initiative for expectant mothers, and new imaging technology that reduces radiation exposure. Jennings also serves as a founding chairman of the Georgia Health Collaborative, a first-of-its-kind initiative in the state between the top health systems. Congratulations, Reynolds Jennings. So thank you. Let's give them a hand. No invited guests, no bitter words, reports from committees and departments. We had Deidre Holden with the upcoming election and election information.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Just going to give you all a brief report of some things that's going on and some things that are going to be upcoming that's going to affect each of you. Currently in the election office, we are performing our audit of all the voter registration cards. We have about 100,000 cards that we have to keep up with, and we want to always do this in the odd number of years so that we can make sure that we have cards where we're supposed to have cards. That's about 50% complete with the luck we're having right now and the time we're getting to dedicate to it. We are probably going to have that completed by December the 31st. I have 2 board members that are working on that and 1 part-time person. And the full-time people, we're trying to do it as much as we can, but we do have an election going on right now. Moving into that, we are conducting our municipal elections for the City of Dallas and City of Hiram. As of close of business yesterday, we have had 11 voters for the City of Dallas, and we've had 5 voters for the City of Hiram, and we have mailed out 3 absentee ballots. One of the most important things I'm going to talk to you about, to our elected officials in the room and to any future candidates that may be out there watching. We are preparing for the changes that came about for House Bill 143 that affects you all and how you file your ethics forms. That has now been put back on the county election office, and you will file with us. However, we are going to be putting an online filing program in place before January 1st when this becomes effective. So it will be easier for all of you. We're going to be having the training. I know I've notified each of you about the training we're going to have on November the 12th. But there's some changes that have happened due to this bill that's going to affect the way you file and when you file. So it's important that all the candidates and elected officials who are interested come to this training. We are also in the midst of preparing for a possible primary election date change. I know there is going to be a pre-bill that has already been written through the Secretary of State's legal counsel that when the federal election primary date was set, it was set for May the 20th. And I know that they are looking to try to set our local primary up to that date as well. So that's going to affect some of you that's going to be on the ballot in 2014. So if that happens, our primary date will move up to May the 20th, and your qualifying date will go up to the end of March. The packet that I have prepared for you just gives you some information on the election dates that we're looking at beginning in early 2014, running all the way through January 2015. We are currently going through all of our poll workers and our poll managers, and we're doing some restructuring of our polling locations. So that's pretty much where we are with elections. If any of you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer those questions at this time.
Any questions?
I'm glad to see it going back, to the county instead of the state, because it's been turmoil in the state on our filing.
Well, we look forward to serving all of you. If we can do anything, just let us know.
What he's trying to say is you're here to help us, and sometimes it's a little bit harder with the state.
I think y'all
We
realize
appreciate your help.
this, so thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, if I could, can I get Mr. Carter to give us an update on the reservoir?
Sure. Are you prepared to do that?
That's okay with everybody else?
Fine with me.
Yeah, on the reservoir, the most positive thing that's happened right here lately is on the funding side of it. As you know, last year we was awarded $29.1 million through the governor's water supply program. And this past August, we were awarded another $21.6, and both of those were low interest loans. On September 18th, we received a letter from GIFA that allowed us to go back and request state direct investment funding, which is also a facet of the governor's water supply program, although the terms of this SDI, the state direct investment funding, is changed, and it doesn't require repayment. Me and Mr. Jones met with GIFA a couple weeks ago, and what they explained to us was the state would like to purchase the excess capacity in our project. When I say excess capacity, we have a 35 MGD project that fulfills a need for us over 50 years. So in the beginning, we don't need any water from the reservoir. The state would like to have access to that whole 35 MGD, and the state's portion would decrease as our need increase. So our need is going to be 100% protected throughout the duration of the project. The request, or let me see, the state would like to use that capacity for additional water supply to the region, offset water needs to Lake Allatoona, further drought proofing the region, help with flow in the river for endangered species protection. Overall, they just want to make the project more regional, have a more regional benefit. Requests for the SDI funding were due on the 10th, and we submitted a request for $32.9 million. That funds the balance of the 86.4 that we've got the project estimated at right now. JIFA has told us that they will award this funding on November 6th, so next month. On the permitting side of the project, we're still working with the Corps to complete the 404 permitting. Corps has asked us to go back and model the impacts from our reservoir to the majority of the Alabama-Tallapoosa Basin, which flows. They want us to remodel the impacts of our project all the way down past Montgomery.
Which almost a mobile, isn't it?
Well, it's just past Montgomery. It's the first federal project on the Coosa or Alabama River point past our project. It has to go through, I think it's 5 or 6 Alabama power lakes prior to it getting there. Bottom line is there's going to be no impacts of our project to this basin. But nonetheless, they've asked us to do that. They've also asked us to go back and relook at our population projection and needs for the project based on the latest projections from the Office of Planning and Budget for 2012 release. We'll be completed with the modeling the first week in November, and we'll have the revised population projections done later in November, and everything will be back in Corps' hands in early December. The other agencies, Fish and Wildlife, has already issued their biological opinion on the project. We're good to go with it. They say we'd have an impact to 3,200 darters. This is what the endangered species impacts is to our project. EPD has already drafted the water withdrawal permit for the project, but they are waiting on the hydrologic model of the ACT basin to be done prior to issuing or releasing those drafts. We also have a meeting scheduled for November 15th with the commander of the Savannah District of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. In addition to that, the EPD director will be present at that meeting. And the purpose of that is to urge the Corps to go ahead and make a decision on the project and issue our permit once this modeling and revised populations have been provided to them in early December.
So in word is we're waiting on Corps. That's the
Absolutely. On the engineering side, geotechnical work at the dam has been completed. We're evaluating the options on dam construction. It's not perfect conditions out there. I'll be the first one to say that. Engineers tell us it is a doable site. It will be an earthen dam, require about 1.5 million cubic yards of fill to build this dam. Dam is about 120 feet tall at the tallest point, and the crest of the dam is about 2,600 feet long. Surveying work for the raw water pipeline is nearing completion. Sizing of that line is estimated to be a 48-inch diameter. On the river intake screens and the pumps have been preliminary sized, but we're waiting on this hydrologic modeling to be completed in the event that it has some minor changes in the available flows to us in the river. Water treatment side, we've already gathered the source water samples from the river and are awaiting the lab results. We've also been evaluating the different treatment technologies that we'll utilize out there. All of the preliminary engineering should be done early next year. The reservoir project as a whole, I think I reported to you last time, we want to be putting water in the sink in 2018. If things keep going like they're going, we still going to accomplish that.
Thank you. Any questions? Thank you.
Thanks, Michael.
Good update. Consent agenda, discuss action on 2 consent agenda items. The first one is approve the purchase of equipment for sheriff's vehicles to West Chatham Warning Devices in the amount of $50,914.10. Tabitha, was that a state bid or open bid, or how was that done?
It was open.
Okay. And And number 2, acceptance of subdivision streets for perpetual maintenance by the county. Sweetwater Bridge, Sweetwater Bridge Drive, Sweetwater Bridge Circle, Amberley Place, Jessel Lane, Amberley Court, Sweetwater Bridge Trail, Julian Way. Would you like to move any of these items to regular session? Hearing none. Under new business, discuss action to authorize the chairman to execute a temporary right to entry and maintenance agreement with the Whitfield County.
Mr. Chairman, Whitfield County is sponsoring a project to install historic markers in several counties, and they are requesting approval of a 20-year access and maintenance agreement to install one historical marker at New Hope Cemetery on county property. I think y'all are familiar with this. Basically, this is part of an overall effort to increase awareness of the Civil War heritage, and there's a benefit to approving this in that there's a good bit of tourism that comes to Paulding County as far as visiting Pickett's Mill, Battlefield Site, and the other sites around our area, and this enhances that effort to sort of create a driving trail where you can drive from marker to marker following the advance of the Atlanta campaign in March to the Sea. Glad to answer any questions if you have.
I just appreciate Chairman Babb leading that effort and making that possible. So thank you for your cooperation. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Number 2, discuss action to adopt resolution 13-37, a supplemental resolution of the Board of Commissioners of Paulding County, Georgia, to approve the bond resolution of the Paulding County Airport Authority as supplemental authorization, the issuance of the Paulding County Airport Authority Revenue Bond, Paulding County Northwest Atlanta Airport Project Series 2013, in the principal amount of $3,600,000 to authorize the execution of a contract between the county and the authority, to authorize the chairman and other officers and officials of the county to take such further actions as necessary to confirm the issuance and delivery of the revenue bonds to Scarperian and for other.
That's a mouthful, isn't
It
it?
is. Thank you.
At the last meeting, you all approved us to go forward with the process of issuing the bonds for the airport authority. We issued those in the amount of $3,600,000. That sale took place last Tuesday. We are here now to confirm the sale that took place on Tuesday. We issued principal amount of $3,405,000. We did receive a coupon rate of 2.25. Your not to exceed issued last week was 5.25, and we did receive 2.25. And we had requested a call provision, and we were able to get something a little better than that. We have a no prepayment penalty. So they're payable at any time with no prepayment penalty in place over the next 10 years. And that's basically the way it's done, unless you have any other questions.
There's still confirmation period that has to be given, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then what we're approving is what we were given in our backup plus the other changes that our attorney forwarded or approved.
That's correct. There's some additional language, but it's very minimal, and it basically just says, gives a little more explanation as to who's going to push what.
Any other questions?
So those can be paid off at any time. We don't usually get that, do we?
No, sir, we don't. Usually you have a call provision. You can pay it off at that call date. If you miss the call date, you have to pay it until it ends. But this one has no prepayment, so if you want to call it, if you want to pay it off in a year, you can pay it off in a year. If you want to go the full 10 years, you can go the full 10 years. With no penalty.
Good deal. Thank you.
Number 3, discuss action to adopt resolution 13-38, a supplemental resolution of the Board of Commissioners of Paulding County, Georgia, to approve the bond resolution of the Paulding County Industrial Building Authority as supplemented authorizing the issuance of Paulding County Industrial Building Authority Revenue Bond, Paulding County Project Series 2013, in the principal amount of $4,625,000 to authorize the execution of a contract between the county and the authority, to authorize the chairman and other officers and officials of the county to take such further action as necessary to confirm the issuance and deliver a revenue bond described herein and for other purposes. Thank you, Tabitha.
Okay. Here we have the same thing. These bonds were issued last Tuesday as well, in in the principal amount of $4,590,000. They also received a 2.25 coupon rate, and they're also issued with no prepayment penalty, so you can pay them off at any time as well.
Number 4, discuss action to adopt resolution 13-39, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of Paulding County, Georgia, authorizing and adopting post-issuance compliance policies, procedure for governmental tax exempt bonds.
This is an additional step that the IRS has requested to be included in your bond issue. And basically, it's adopting compliance and procedures for us to follow after we have issued these bonds.
Which is, this is so that it keeps its tax exempt status.
It will keep, yes, it will keep its tax exempt status, and there's a few requirements that we have to meet. And this just says that we're going to do that.
Any other questions? Number 5, discuss action to approve the Shepherd's Rest agreement for the fiscal year 2014.
If you'll recall, during the budget process, we have an agreement with Shepherd's Rest. This allows them to serve the citizens of the county in an indigent manner. So specifically, it says that Shepherd's Rest Ministries shall continue to provide legal advocacy services to Paulding County victims of domestic violence without charge through the county's funding of the XSIF program and the addition of part-time legal advocate. And it's a contribution of $25,000, and they will be available through the court system to provide services to those that need it regarding domestic issues.
We've realized that that's had a multiplier effect, and they use it very, very effectively. So, very good program.
That's correct.
Any other questions?
Thanks for getting it on the agenda. Thanks for early in the year.
No executive sessions. That's a regular conclusion of regular business. Now we go into session, citizens wishing to speak. We have Mr. Mike Fritz, pre-election promises. Mr. Fritz, you have 5 minutes.
All right, thank you. You know what, this morning was pretty interesting because right now I'm in the room of several people that I have helped win elections. Even the old timers like Kirby, even 2 up there on the board. Before I get started, I want to ask you one major question. How many people in this room want responsible government? How many people? Okay, just want to make sure I was on the correct page. During a campaign process, especially in this county, you're heated. You want to win. You want your candidate to be the representative. And during the course of that, there's a lot of promises made. During the course of that, a lot of those promises are broken. That's why I'm here in front of you. It's become almost a matter of, oh, geez, yeah, he promised that, but he didn't do it. So I'll proceed with my questions. There was 2 candidates that are now sitting on this board that made pretty serious promises. They promised, number 1, that they would give back the first 2 years the money that they made. Okay? I'm going to find out for public record if, in fact, they abided by that promise. Because you know what? During the election, like I heard earlier in this agenda, is now won by 5 votes, 12 votes. So a lot of people are basing their votes strictly on what you promised during the campaign. I'm going to hold these people accountable, not only for this, but for the other ways that they dispose of their posts. Mr. Barnett.
Mr. Fritz, there.
Did you or did you not?
These are spread out when my checks were issued back to the county.
Thank you.
Well, that was a big setup.
So, Mr. Barnett, you did in fact abide by your promise.
Yes, sir.
And at this time, every time you were paid, you turned around and took that payment and gave it back to that county?
Every 6 months.
Thank you. I wish you the best of luck in the future, and I have total respect for you.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Pownell,
That's me.
you know what? You and me have been on both sides of the aisle.
Yeah, we have.
I've been your opponent, and I also stood with you on the corner, holding your sign. So now, I got the same question to ask you. Did you, during the campaign, promise one important factor? Number one, did you promise to the people of this county that you would in fact give back the money that you earned?
Yes, sir. I sure did. In fact, I made 3 promises I promised, and there's only 3 promises I made. Didn't promise anybody to pave the road. That's what a lot of candidates will promise. I promised to work hard, be honest, and give back the first 2 years of my salary, just like Mr. Barnett. We did that together.
Now let me ask you, in what fashion did you give back that money?
Back to the system.
So at no time you stalled?
No.
So at no time after I went public did you decide, oops, I got to do something? Are you sure this is a public record?
Nope, not at all. I held off on the second half of last year because of a couple of agenda. In fact, one agenda item that's on here right now was Shepherd's Rest. And during the budget process, that was something that I wanted to see happen, wanted to make sure we fulfilled. But other than that, no. I didn't give back mine the same date that Barnett did, but I did give mine back.
Why the lapse?
Because of that. In fact, if you'll look at the record, we didn't. I think the first time we both gave it back at the same time, but after that, it was kind of on different dates.
Well, you know what? During that election promise, you were very exact and very articulate on what you would do.
Exactly.
And I think holding back your pay for another given time just to oversee was not part of your promise. The only thing I'm asking you, if you did not fulfill that promise, is just apologize. Say, look,
I did fulfill the promise. In fact, I will say this. I'm Todd Pownell, and I'm the Post 2 Commissioner of Paulding County. And I made 3 promises to the people. And that was to work hard and be honest and to give back that same pay that Mr. Barnett and I both said we would give back, and we announced it, I think in the Civic for the Battlefield. And yes, I have given back. In fact, I've given back $32,800 is what I have given back. And
how recently?
My last one that I gave back was probably a couple weeks ago. And I want to say this. I see the direction that this is going in. And there's only one person up here on this board that knew why I wasn't giving that back immediately, knew why I was holding off. Only one person. And yes, I've given back my $32,800 that I promised to give back. And whatever we're doing here, political bullying, I don't agree with. I can tell you this. I didn't know what you were speaking about today, other than pre-campaign promises. I didn't know.
So is that
But obviously some other people.
Is that selective? It's pretty well posted exactly what I was coming in here for. You know what, Todd? The only
No,
thing,
in fact, it was pre-election promises.
I know what, how you delivered those pre-election promises, everything. You didn't say to overlook something. You didn't say anything about that. You said you would give it directly back, and in fact you did. Look, just be a man, stand up, admit it, and say you made a mistake.
I didn't make a mistake.
Okay, thank you.
I want to make it clear to people, I did not make a mistake. I have given back $32,800. And furthermore, I will say this. Mike, if you want any more of that, if you want some more of the money, come sit on the back porch and ask my wife and kids. Because I have done exactly what I promised I would do, and that was to work hard and be honest and be open and transparent to the people of Paulding County. And I have given that $32,800. David Barnett and I believe this is the first time in history that's happened in this county. And I would never go back on my word to the people. And I'll never go back on my word to the people to be open, to be honest, and have transparent government. And that's what the people of Paulding County deserve. It's what they expect. It's what they expect out of their elected officials. And I will tell you this. I am Todd Pownell. I am the Post 2 Commissioner. The airport is in my post. And political bullying does not need to continue on in this county of Paulding County. I have seen it for years.
Point of order,
political
Mr. Chairman. Point of order. We need to get back on our agenda.
Tommy, we do need to get back on our agenda, but other people said this.
Point of order.
You know what? The way they're behaving is typical.
No.
And at this time, I'm going to leave the stand because he's the
And I will say this, because right now, I'm up here, and I will say this. Mike Fritz, we've been on both sides of the aisle before. We've always spoke candid to each other and been open and honest, and I'll tell you this, Mike, as a person in this community, I still love you.
As a point of order, there was 5 minutes given to speak. Anytime he stopped not to speak, then that time stopped on the time frame. So it's not that one person gets more time than another, but when Mr. Pownell spoke, that time stopped. So he did stop at the 4-minute mark. Now we'll call Ms. Susan.
And Mr. Chairman, just for one more thing, and it's pretty simple here. I wasn't aware that that's what Mr. Fritz was going to ask for, so I didn't bring anything with me. So, and Mr. Barnett, that is no reflection on you, because
Hang on one thing.
I wasn't aware of that.
Did you get the email that Rebecca sent, which I just looked it up, and I heard that she sent the email on October the 16th.
I did get the email, but I wasn't.
It says what he was speaking of.
I wasn't aware of that's what it was, and if anybody wants to do an open records or ask Tabitha about me giving my $32,800 back to the county, they are more than welcome to do that. And when you've got a citizen and a commissioner that's willing to do that, 2 commissioners that have done that, I think we need to be thankful that they could have kept their campaign promise.
Okay. First thing I want to say is, Mr. Fritz, I called you the other day. I think that's the first time I've ever spoken to you. However, I've never met you before, not that I'm aware of. During my election, nothing, have we?
No, we haven't, but I believe during that conversation, I wish you the best
Yes,
in
sir.
your future, and it was resolved that day.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, let's move on to Ms. Wilkins, Airport Authority resident bond. Ms. Wilkins, you have 5 minutes. If you're interrupted, that time will not be counted against you or questions asked or that.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
On behalf of myself and my fellow Paulding County residents, I come before you today to inform you that we are very, very concerned about the $3.6 million worth of bonds allocated to the continued construction of the airport runway that we, the taxpayers, are ultimately responsible to pay. We take issue with the way you have and continue to gamble our tax dollars by investing millions into a project that you do not have full approval on from the FAA. A project that, if it fails and receives no funding, will be on the taxpayer's tab for years to come. It's unthinkable that anyone would not only sneak this underhanded deal in behind our backs, but then expect us to pay it back. Your claims of high revenue and lower taxes are empty promises, since this very expensive, self-serving project is built on nothing but your hopes and dreams. Have any economic studies been done to support your projection of the 20,000 jobs and billions of dollars worth of revenue? If so, we'd like to see them. We're also curious about your ability to ignore the AMAX study done just a few years ago by the City of Atlanta, funded by the FAA, that concluded there is no acceptable airport location in the metro Atlanta area that can effectively relieve Hartsfield International air traffic. You've given us no choice but to question your motives and sense of judgment. We are opposed to acquiring any more debt that we, the residents, do not approve of or vote on, especially regarding the commercialization of our county airport. We are through tolerating the reckless spending and poor decision-making of our elected and appointed county officials, who do not only throw good money after the bad, but who have clearly violated their power and our trust. We understand and appreciate the value of economic development in Paulding County. However, we cannot understand why you have chosen to abandon the very purpose you were elected into office in exchange for fulfilling your own personal agendas. Obviously, you're intoxicated with your power beyond reason if you think your residents are willing to accept being treated with zero respect and such little regard. It is inconceivable how any of you can justify governing the very people who voted you into office with such deception and dishonesty. You claim your secrecy was necessary in order to do business with Propeller Investments. We understand the need for discretion, but taking matters to this extent is unacceptable. The desire to protect the deal should not exceed your responsibility to protect the Paulding County taxpayers. The residents of Paulding County expect your loyalty to lie with us first and foremost, and we also expect to be included in any major decisions like a commercial airport that will greatly impact the lives of all 142,000 residents. I hope you have come to realize that there are many concerned citizens who oppose the airport expansion, residents who live in Paulding County because of the quality of life it offers, away from the congestion found elsewhere in the metro Atlanta area. In the name of progress, you threaten us with an airtropolis that has the potential of stealing the very essence of our county and reasons we've chosen to live here. We value our trees, our peace and quiet, our natural beauty, our wildlife, our health, our children's well-being, our community, our low crime rate, our sleep, and our happiness. So on behalf of the Paulding County residents, I ask you to halt any further progress on the Silver Comet field until the citizens are better informed and are allowed to speak. We ask that you set your ambitions aside and handle the situation from here on out in a way that is fair to all Paulding residents. I'll conclude on behalf of the Paulding County residents by thanking Todd Pownell for being an upstanding county commissioner who has not lost sight of his mission to serve and protect the Paulding County residents. Your efforts have not gone unnoticed, and we thank you.
Good morning. My name is Judy Horn.
Good job.
I told people sitting around me, I haven't seen as many people in the audience for years. It's nice to have you here. That was a hard act to follow. There seems to be a lot of drama here this morning. I have here in front of me the copy of the lease, but I made lots of highlights in. I called our comptroller, Tabitha Pollard, and asked her about different bonds that the county had issued, both for this and for our film studio. She answered me wonderfully, very succinctly, very well informed. I attended the meeting last week at the Airport Authority, and I was very, it's unfortunate that news cameras captured some of the behavior there. It seems our manners may have been left at home, and that's unfortunate. I did call several commissioners, and everybody responded to me in very prompt time. I must admit, my post-commissioner, Dave Carmichael, called me back and admitted that it was a pocket call, but I'm going to give him credit for calling me back quickly anyway. Our county has gone through a lot of growth since the 90s. In the 90s, we introduced something called the Planned Residential Development, and it impacted people's lives. If they were backing up to a high-density subdivision, there were people crying in the audience because it was going to change their life. That was hard to see. It was hard to know how that would affect me if I were in that same position. The airport's here. It's not going away. I'm not impacted by it, so I can be a little less emotional about the whole thing. But what we have here, we seem to be on a precipice. What are we going to do at this juncture with our commission, the way it interacts with our citizens, and how are we going to move forward from here? That's what we have to decide. We can't go back. The way the airport authority functions, we probably have a little hiccup there. It would be nice if it was filmed so people could more easily keep up with what's going on, because it's all talked about. People don't go to the meetings until it gets divisive. A microphone would be great. It was hard to hear Mr. Thompson in the meeting. But we need to re-energize our post-commission and its citizenry. What do we have? How are we going to interact with the other county? We have a new exit off of I-75 that's going to come very close to Paulding County. How can we interact with that and the new airport? How can we get our citizenry behind it and go forward from here? Because that's what we have to do. We can't undo this. Hopefully everybody will, the drama is not necessary. This is business. This is business. And I hope to see, everyone working well together and re-energizing with the people in their community. And let's make this a very positive thing for Paulding County, because it really can be. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like just one thing, pretty minor here. It was said, and I hate to even bring this up like this, but I have to. It was said in the last meeting that basically it was said that I was told about the airport. It was also said that there were emails sent out to me about the airport. So I just want to take just a minute and go on record and let the public know that I give you my word. Number one, I was never told. Number two, I never knew anything about it whatsoever. And it was said that there were emails that let me know about it, and the public could do open records. So I was very cautious that day because I didn't want to throw stones back, because sometimes you could miss an email. However, there was open records. There was no email that alluded to anything about Propeller or Silver Comet Field, Silver Comet Investments, or anything else. There were two emails that were being talked about. One was inviting the commissioners to get a VIP ticket to the tent at the air show. And the other email was from Blake Swafford that came out on October 1st, inviting us all to a lunch at the airport on Friday before the air show. The announcement was made on the news Thursday night, which is where I became aware of that. The email just basically says that he would like to invite us to lunch, a lunch hosted out here for some club, and asked if we should be there. I sent Blake back, and I also talked to Blake, and I said, thanks for the invite. I already have Friday full with work. I was unable to change my schedule. I hope you have a great turnout Friday, and for the air show, thanks again. Todd Connell, Post 2 Commissioner. Thursday morning at 9:21, I got an email that said, back on that same email, that said, Todd, I hate you are going to miss it. It should be a great event. I understand real estate is picking up. I hope you are slammed. I'm in real estate, and we want it to pick up naturally. Hey, is there any chance you would have 15 minutes to swing by the airport this afternoon? I would like to introduce you to the president of a company we are going to be working with to develop part of the airport. Just let me know. That was the email that was being discussed, and so I just want the public to know, again, the whole time I was not aware, I was not involved. I am sorry, and I'm sorry the way it was done, and I will continue to work with the public to be open, honest, and transparent. I thank you for your support.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.